Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great day. The first thing is that we've hit 13,000 subscribers, and I can't thank you guys enough for supporting a smaller content creator. I appreciate each and every one of you. Number two is, look at this. The neckbeard has finally been shaven for all of the people that have been paying attention and waiting for this great moment in the comments. On top of that, let's talk about what we have going on in the market. A lot of volatility, and we see some record closings for some of the top indexes like the S&P 500 today. Dial in looking at Palantir actually reassuming one of the most important critical levels of support, considering earnings are now less than a week away. We have some key Magnificent 7 blue chip tech stocks that will be releasing their earnings this week. On top of that, we also have key inflationary data and remarks that will be released by the Fed regarding the interest rate cut bets, and also a jobs market report is going to be coming out towards the end of the week. We're going to be reviewing this all and of course talking about PLTR. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, quickly here, before we get too far deep into PLTR, let's see at this closing. You see 1709 here. Let's see what's going on with the actual S&P, what we're seeing with the rise. And that is with 5 of the Magnificent 7 tech companies are setting to report earnings this week. Tomorrow is going to kick off with Microsoft and Google leading out with the pack, followed by Apple, Amazon, and Meta, aka Facebook, that are going to be on deck. And at the same time, we're also going to have the Fed's policy decision on Wednesday after data last week actually showed inflationary metrics that are cooling and with a robust economy. Now, policymakers are expecting to hold interest rates at 5.25%, but they're going to be listening, of course, to Mr. Jerome Chair Powell about the comments for clues as to when cuts could begin, depending on the March bets. That's what the market's kind of pricing on right now. Also, like I said, we have the U.S. jobs report for December that's going to factor into a lot of calculations on basically a big decisive maker on what the actual Fed is going to do. Let's talk about PLTR. 1709 right now. Remember, we have a critical date for PLTR that's going to be occurring in about a week, and that is going to be the actual earnings schedule. That's going to be happening after market closes on Monday next week, February 5th. We see PLTR that gets a nice bump by a lot of the actual blue chip stocks that get a good closing towards the end of the market day. Specifically, even if you look at here, Microsoft breaks out at 409 for a close, looking very well. And you see NVIDIA that's actually popping back up to its all-time highs of about that 628 level. PLTR follows here with a lot of bets coming into the AI industry and in terms of just the actual markets. You see PLTR actually reassumes the support level at about the 17s right here and could cross that. If we see PLTR that continues to cross that support and at this resistance right now in the short term, but actually attack and build support for the future, we could see a retesting into more of its actual stronger resistance zone with the anticipation of them beating earnings within the next week. This is looking into the 18s. This is looking into that $20 level of resistance. What we're seeing right here is a lot of bullishness behind institutional and retail investors, because if we look at the actual contracts for end of the week expirations for February 2nd, you see the implied volatility in terms of call volume at the 18 and even at the 1850 are both above 10,000, even 20,000 basically for the 17.5 and the $18 strike price. This is letting us know in the short term that many people are taking a bullish bet on Palantir's short-term price volatility, anticipating that earnings will be bullish. And specifically, if you're new to Palantir, if you don't know what we're expecting with earnings, right now Wall Street is putting a prediction and an expectation for Palantir to be sitting at 8 cents for earnings per share, revenue of $603 million. A bullish catalyst that we've talked about yesterday and that we will continue to talk about until earnings are released are the actual earnings provisions that we are seeing. We see 16 in the last 90 days, which is a really bullish indicator that Wall Street keeps continuing to raise the prediction and the expectations about what actually Palantir is going to report. Of course, Palantir has done a great job in the midst of their recent earnings reports. They've had that fourth quarter of GAAP profitability. We always mention the S&P 500 inclusion criteria. Whenever we get announcements for if that's going to be happening this year, how that's going to be happening when the S&P 500 does their actual quarterly kind of meetings, deciding on which stocks are coming in and which stocks are coming out, this could be very bullish for PLTR, because we typically historically have seen that stocks that come into the S&P 500 typically get about a 5 to a 7% increase in valuation, just due to the actual general indexes and the ETFs that are following the S&P. Now, with that on top of that, let's talk about PLTR, looking at some of these growth metrics, not just for earnings, but for the actual future here, and a prediction from Yahoo Finance, from right here from Simply Wall Street, an article talking about, is Palantir trading at a 43% discount? And basically what they're utilizing is a projected fair value for Palantir is at $28 based on the stage free cash flow to equity algorithms. And if we look at that right now, analysts specifically are price targeting Palantir at the 1538, which is an interesting zone because that is less than where we are now, obviously, but Palantir does like to consolidate around those 15s. We've seen consolidation between the 13s and the 16s. Palantir has had a lot of history between trading between those zones, but crunching the numbers here and taking an actual projected 10-year free cash flow forecast, looking here into the next decade of 2033, they're predicting value of a 10-year cash flow to be about $17 billion, and extending that out for actual values accounting past this 10-year period. These are values that could be a terminal values of $45 billion. What they get with this whole free cash flow estimate is a fair value of about $28.45 looking into the next decade. Now, these, of course, are growth metric algorithms, so we do need to take into account the actual assumptions that are behind this, and that is a continuation in the strength and revenue behind this stock, and also taking into effect that this does not consider the actual cyclic nature of an industry or the company's future capital requirements, because right now some of the strong indexes or strengths and criteria that we've seen behind Palantir is they are currently debt free. The amount of cash that they have on hand is astronomical to the amount of debt, which is basically zero. And in terms of the actual opportunity, is that the annual earnings are forecast to grow faster than the American market and trading below our estimates of fair value by more than 20%. Now, the criticisms, of course, behind PLTR that we've talked about before is its valuation. However, we broke down that really important article a few days ago talking about why this is currently being justified, because the valuation is more of a measure of what the future revenue expectations are set to be. Right now, Palantir is one of the biggest hype stocks out there, and Wall Street is taking a big bet on its actual future performance, and why Palantir, in my opinion, will likely stay at a premium. That's not necessarily an odd or a thing that we haven't seen before with many of these other tech stocks. Look at a lot of the other tech stocks in the industries, look at their valuations and compare that to PLTR. PLTR needs time and can grow into its valuation. However, of course, there is more risk and uncertainty that does come with that because of any type of bearish indicators or any type of large swings in the market. We could see quick reversals. So make sure risk assessment is fully analyzed on your own opinion. Peace out. Take care, and I'll catch you guys later. Have a great day.